Okay, baby cakes and munchkin butts. This is video number 3. I'm gonna hold on. Yeah, wait a minute, hold on. Is this video 3 or 2? No, this is it 3 or 4? This is video 3 of at least a 3, maybe 4-part video series connected to. I forgot what I verbalized. I think the verbal title of this video series will be titled along the lines of the bio-robotization of a targeted individual's gang-stalking crimes. Now, you gotta watch video 1 and 2 in order to be able to make complete sense of everything you're gonna hear in this video. And by the way, I am going to be somewhat distracted as I'm making this video, because I gotta pay attention to other things I gotta get done today as I'm making this video. So if there's any brief, sudden interruptions in my speech, I apologize for that ahead of time. I gotta get these things done. Okay, so just bear with me, baby cakes and munchkin butts, and gotta find my glasses. Hold on. I'm just now kind of catching my breath because I literally just concluded video number 2. You would not believe what's happening in this crime, folks. You literally would not be. There is going to be a video 4, because video 4 is literally going to show you the islands implants that are in my eyes and other evidences. So when you do your research, you'll have a visual representation of at least the fact that non-consensual visual prosthetics are being put in gang-stalking targets. You will also see some presentations about ear implants discussed in video 2, which I just concluded. Okay? Now, when you incorporate what was mentioned in video 2, and obviously also watch video 1 and the statements in this video, your mind might say, hey, look. Is there any way, anything discussed in this video series, is there any chance of anything that I'm talking about in this video series being related to a specific gang-stalking victim that I am personally aware of? I am. Who did God say who did God say? God said, my name is I am. And if God is living in Christians, okay, through the Holy Spirit and through God's grace through John 3:16, that means we are the temple of God. We are walking temples of God, no matter what you believe or not. That's what I believe through my Christian faith. So, let's talk about this for a minute, actually, just for a minute. And please don't walk away, because I am going to segue back into the continued statement of the subject matter of this video series. But I want you to listen to me very closely, and trust me when I say I am not the only one saying this. Sorry, I just got a little itty-bitty mouse in my environment, about 15 feet away. I want you to listen to me very closely. The people that manage this crime, the entire criminal program of this crime, are evil beyond description. This is no exaggeration. They are completely separated from and completely void of any sense of, literally, any sense of normal, humane processes. They are sociopsychopaths. They are criminally deranged beyond mathematical measure. This is no exaggeration. They're evil as hell. Literally, they're evil as hell. I kid you not. This is not a statement being made because of my Christian beliefs. This is a statement that's being made from the things I've experienced and the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of testimonies I've seen from fellow targeted individuals and from medical research and scientific research concerning the absolute testimonies I've seen from ex-military personnel, ex-intelligence agency personnel, doctors, professors, scientists, and my fellow educated, intelligent gang-stalking victims, which the vast majority of all gang-stalking victims are very intelligent, and all of them become eventually very educated. Let me tell you something about gang-stalking targets, folks. We're decent people. We're average people. We're not criminals at all. You ever see me out and about in the community in San Diego, you better know, just please always remember this. Community members in San Diego, including at businesses, libraries, universities, MTS bus transportation services, they are abso-fucking-lutely being lied to about each and every gang-stalking target that they have participated in the gang-stalking program against each target. They are being lied to about the target completely. And is it law enforcement that's hosting it? Federal, state, and local. They are the only ones that got the power to get universities to cooperate with the criminal application of this crime using the university's form. Same thing with businesses of all sorts, transportation services. They are the only employment description that got the power to covertly interface with these types of places, and the influence that comes with their position, employment description, to get the assistance from these places so that these places can be used to apply the gang stalking program against the victim, concerning the victim, around the victim, and at times directly towards them. They are the only ones. Am I referring to, but not limited to, DHS, the FBI, working in concert with state, county, and local officials, state, county, and local police, security guards at business plazas, business managers, business employees, and fake customers. And when it comes to university students as well. Alright, let me catch my breath. And I gotta find my glasses too, so bear with me a second. And I gotta feed my birds. Hold on. You know that my birds that I feed, and I know this is gonna sound a teeny bit peculiar, but just hear me out. If you knew the things that I have been through, went through, and have endured non-stop on a daily basis, non-stop. When you research isolation and gang stalking, most gang stalking victims are isolated completely. Completely isolated. Okay? Completely. We are alone. And then when we go out and about a community, we are literally subject to role-playing assholes. And I take that statement back because I try to respect all human beings, even when they engage in wrong behavior. You gotta remember this, folks. Keep this in mind, and I'm aware I'm kind of steering away from the subject matter, but just hear me out for a second. Let's take a look at, just for a minute, because this is important news. Okay, this is important information. When you look at people who are out there committing crimes for whatever reason they do, some people steal because they have no money to eat. Some people, yeah, literally, and that's sad. It's literally sad. Okay. Some people steal because they have no money to eat. Some people will steal other things so they can then go out and sell them, so they can have bus fare to get around, like to get around to a food bank to get food. I'm not saying that stealing is right. No, it's against human law and it's against God's law. But you need to also know this. If you believe in God, God knows the reasons why you engage in any behavior you engage in. Every detail concerning why you did what you did. What led you to make that choice? What circumstances were happening in your life by your own making and or by life's circumstances imposing you into those actions. Everybody's got to eat. Everybody's got to survive. These are basic human instincts. Hardwired in every human being's brain. Hardwired into animals' brains. A bird has never gang stalked me. Sometimes when gang stalking victims are put through such traumatic brain injury from directed energy weapons, certain acoustic technologies that create cavitation, okay, consecutive concussions while we're isolated, all alone, even mocked about it through Voice of Skull. This is literally how sick these fucking psychos are. I kid you not. These people are evil. Hitler was nothing compared to these wild horrors. This is no exaggeration. These people will kill a whistleblower just to stop the truth from being exposed. They don't give a flying fuck about committing murder. They'll kill you and go have lunch, not think twice about it. Because they know the police will cover it up, the coroner's office will cover it up. You fucking better believe they know it. This is why they're getting away with so many different crimes. Because they're completely protected. This is why the police belong in jail. And I'm right now mainly referring to, okay, chiefs of police, captains, lieutenants, and sergeants. And even mayor's aides, because you would not believe what I've discovered over the years about their direct connection to gang stalking. Oh, absolutely. A lot of these mayor's aides seem to be, like, say, if you get one mayor elected and then he or she serves her term and then another mayor gets elected, some of those mayor aides will still then be the mayor aides of the new mayor. I'll eventually make a video about that, or at least make a video and get into a more in-depth description about that. So what I was leading up to is, listen to this. When you're alone and you're isolated, especially if you're living through massive consecutive concussive states, while you're also simultaneously enduring traumatic brain injury, while you can also, whether you are also enduring simultaneous organ targeting, like your kidneys, your liver, your stomach, your throat, and whatever else, okay, while you're isolated, if you're enduring this practically every day, while you're isolated and alone, okay, your brain can only take so much. And anything you endure in the body will send signals to your brain that these other parts of the body are being traumatized and intruded upon. This is programming the entire neurological mental substrate. And these fucking vicious wild whores know it, because that's literally one of their goals. Literally. Stay with this account, sweetheart. You'll learn a lot. And if you don't know what the mental substrate is, just Google the hell out of it. Okay? So when you're totally isolated alone, and then you go out and about in the community, and each different place you go into participates in different aspects of this crime, including so overtly, you could come in and not even visually see that something's happening. This is literally the truth. Okay? You'll understand that more, again, when you stay with this account. Anything that I state that I don't expand upon, you'll understand it over time when you stay with this account. Completely. So when you're alone, non-stop, day after day, week after week, month after month, even year after year, you're physically alone all day long. Physically alone. And the only human contact that you come in contact with when you go out in the community, you are forced to endure the community-based gang stalking applied against you at each place you go to, even the bus stops. Okay? Even bus stops, bus routes. Locking up your bike outside of a grocery store, in the grocery store, every aisle in the grocery store, going into the checkout lane, being at the checkout lane, coming out, packing your groceries up to put them on the bike. You're gang stalked out there too. Okay? Absolutely. Literally. So your brain is being almost constantly forced to process what you're visually seeing and what you might be auditorily hearing from the community-based gang stalking. That's programming the mental substrate. Not to mention what a victim can be enduring through voice-to-skull technology. Okay? All of it abuse. Okay? So, when you're being physically traumatized, traumatic brain injuries, and non-stop consecutive concussive states, while also other parts of your body can be being traumatized, which those parts of the body signal the brain that those parts of the body are under attack, which means that the brain is also noticing other areas of your body is being traumatized. While you're alone, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, enduring nothing but this demonic crime, practically nothing but. Okay, that's the programming of the mental substrate. So when you then see a bird ain't gang stalking you. That's another form of life telling you that this is reality within reality. Because what you got to understand about gang stalking, the program of gang stalking goes after all five senses. And how does our conscious mind perceive our reality? Through our senses. Gang stalking, the program of gang stalking, is a construct that is intentionally imposed on by and through the intentional intrusion on every aspect of your life, all five senses, okay, and what gets processed through those five senses. That's the only way they can program the mental substrate, which means they're programming brain waves and neural networks, which stretch out into different regions of the brain. Because different regions of the brain are responsible for different features and functions, emotions, brain states, okay, motor cortex associated behaviors, speech, everything. These bile whores go after it all. Your property, including theft of it, damage to it, mocking you about it after it occurs, everything. This crime only wants you to experience this crime, including when you're sleeping. So it's a program that's been constructed, and then the methods, techniques, and tactics that allow them to achieve crimes against all your five senses and your neurological systems and your biological systems, okay, is the only thing, pretty much almost, that the victim is allowed to process. So when the brain is constantly, and the body is constantly taking information in, saying that, hey, this is because of gang stalking, that's because of gang stalking. Even when you're not enduring a specific direct crime through this crime, the crime is harassing you, is reported to be almost nonstop harassing you acoustically. What do you think is being heard through the acoustic projections of ELF and Voice to Skull against gang stalking targets? Nothing but abuse, critical statements, gaslighting. So the brain is being constantly fed negative shit. Okay? Not to mention what they're doing to the visual cortex. So in other words, our conscious reality and subconscious and unconscious and preconscious reality is nothing but, generally at least, literally, processing something that's being imposed on us through a constructed program that is being applied against us in our five systems of perception. Okay? Visual, taste, touch, hearing, visual, taste, touch, and feeling. Am I forgetting something here? Let's see. Taste, touch, vision, hearing, and smell. Fumigation, smell. Implantation, nasal system, smell. Touch, physical assaults, including assaults through direct energy weapons. Okay, hearing, voice to skull with voice morphine, and any implants that can be put in the ears and everything done through the implants. Sight, visual prosthetics, and the fact that remote monitoring can interface with your visual processing area of the brain without any type of implant. And the visual and auditory shit that we are forced to see when we go out in a community. Chemical fumigation when we go out and about in a community. Okay, that's nasal, that's smell, and even can be taste. These sick, demented, mass murdering, raping, gang raping, vile horrors, it's all they want your life to be, is you being forced to process this crime neurologically, biologically, trauma nonstop practically, and while you're isolated. Now, when you're traumatized, neurologically, biologically, and psychologically, your brain can easily go into a nonstop consecutive disassociated state. Unconscious, subconscious, preconscious, conscious, they go after it all. Okay? So if your reality is only your experiences and how we interpret our experiences, if we're being forced to constantly process what's being done to us through the entire applied program against stalking, the different things. Okay, you see, when our brain goes into disassociated state, it's not connecting with the executive functions of the brain, which is responsible for common sense processing, critical thinking, deductive reasoning, inductive reasoning, and common sense processing. Our memory is also affected. Oh, absolutely, because you're literally in physical traumatic brain injury. Plus, there's neural weapons that can inhibit your brain functions from operating correctly, whether they are assisted by and through or not any type of non-consensual neurological, biological implantation. These people are vile whores. Demented vile whores. The only thing they care about is trauma and abuse and programming them as a substrate. So tying the statement off, you need to consider that one thing that can help bring back a gang stalking victim's sense of actual reality, because the gang stalking is a program, it's a constructed program, and it constructs everything it does on top, towards the victim's neurological and biological systems and every aspect of their life, and how they're being forced to process everything we see, hear, some of the things that we taste, even the things that we touch, and some of the things we smell, not to mention the experiences of it all, across the board. Okay? So then that means the brain and body is constantly processing the crime, while the brain is under and within a consecutive traumatic brain injury, while the brain is simultaneously in a non-stop consecutive concussive state, which means then you are now in a non-stop, disassociated state. And they're creating brainwaves to those dissociated states. Make no mistake about it. Okay, now when you're in a dissociated state, you're not consciously aware of everything, and you are not in complete control. Well, you're not making a neurological access to your executive functions. okay, which is critical thinking, deductive reasoning, and the things I mentioned a minute ago. So what's one of the good things that brings gang stalking victims back into conscious reality to remember that gang stalking is nothing but a constructed program being constructed on you and your life and your health and your brain processes and your biological processes by and through different people doing different things. They want you to forget reality. That's why they're forcing the brain to constantly process one or more crimes that they're being forced to constantly experience. Like right now, I'm experiencing sound frequency phasing, and I'm experiencing infrasound and ultrasound, but you can't hear it. I made a video about this last night showing my infrasound app and my ultrasound app and my sound spectrum analyzer app, picking it all up. Just hasn't been uploaded yet because I haven't been anywhere yet since then. Okay? Now, so when you look up and you see a bird is part of nature. A bird is part of reality. A bird is innocent. It's not part of the gang stalking constructed program being perpetrated on you, okay, violently and criminally. And then that kind of brings you back, okay, into noticing that. You're noticing it unconsciously in the right hemisphere because our environment is mostly paid attention to by the right hemisphere of the brain, which is unconscious awareness. But then when you see the bird, you're consciously being nudged back into the left brain, which is your unconscious awareness. And so then you see that bird and you say to yourself, this is my environment. This is a bird who's innocently in my environment. A bird is not involved in gang stalking, and it brings you back to the reality of reality. As weird as this might sound. When you're watching a movie made back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and even 60s and later, and you see the storyline play out, okay, all right, what you're seeing is you're seeing the human interaction between different actors and actresses and environments. You're not seeing gang stalking. That's another way to remind your brain that, hey, what I'm seeing here, am I seeing anything in this movie that is related to gang stalking and the storyline of it? No, you're seeing human beings interact with each other. But you're not seeing any gang stalking. That right there should tell you right there. Okay, I know this sounds a little bit weird to people. Just hear me out. Again, when you research how our conscious mind, okay, takes our experiences, and then if we're being subject to things that are not natural and not normal, non-stop on a daily basis, what they're trying to trick the brain into believing that this is reality. It's not. It's a program that's been constructed that's being implicated on you to force your perceptions, your senses to process it instead of it processing reality. So you got to bring yourself back into remembering what society actually is. Here's another case in point, and then we'll close this off. Consider this. If you go into a grocery store that you're being gang stalked in, what do you think their behavior is once you leave? They're going back to their natural, normal behaviors. Okay? Doing their jobs. People shopping, then leaving. That's normal. But when you go there, you're being forced to see them participate in gang stalking. Therefore, your brain deduces nothing but what you're being forced to see. But that's not reality. That's role-playing to alter your perceptions about reality. And to get you to neurologically process every detail of what you're seeing and why it's being done and so on. Fuck these animals. They're not reality. These people are a fucking construct that they're playing out through role players and other things that we're enduring. My fellow American citizens, you need to know truth. A truth about the human biology and neurological functions and features. We see reality by and interpret our reality by and through our experiences, relationships, what things are, how they work with other things, and so on. We all know this. If you're out and about in a community and you see 5 different types of stores, your brain is going to conclude you're seeing 5 different types of stores. But when you go in each one of those 5 different stores and are being subject to gang stalking techniques, buying through managers, employees, security guards, and fake customers, then you're going to deduce that this store is a an operation that is, this store is connected to the gang stalking crime that is perpetrating gang stalking against you. Your brain is never allowed to relax. Instead, it's being programmed to process the resulting thinking patterns from your experiences. If you go into a store to buy a cake, and you go into the store and you buy a cake and you walk out and nothing happens to you, that's a normal, everyday societal function. Human function. If you're a gang stalking victim and you go to the store to buy a cake and you're subject to 25 different color coders and somebody that goes off on you through a staged event, somebody assaults you, your experience in that store is that current reality. And your brain is taking all the information in, it's analyzing it, it's reacting to it neurologically and biologically. That is the programming of the mental substrate. They're programming brainwaves and neural networks that then branch out from the initial brainwaves. That's why anchoring and all this other shit, sensitization method, and all this other shit that these vile whores are doing, they need you to experience these experiences. Now, do you really believe for 1 second that a crime that sets up a completely innocent man and or woman, okay, for a rape, do you honestly believe that person is not evil? They're evil as hell. Do you really believe that the cops that allowed it all, do you believe they're not evil? They're evil as hell. Because they're lying to you when their little police cars say, we are here to protect and serve. Fuck that. They're not. They're here to protect and serve the institution, the corporation that they work for. The only thing that corporation cares about is power, money, and control. Okay? Make the money through the power and the control of it so they can continue to make the money through the control. They're foot soldiers. They're part of a game. They don't give a shit about you or me or anybody else. That uniform does not care about you at all. That's a fact. No matter what you fucking see or hear on any news broadcast about any law enforcement agency, they do not care about you at all. That's a fact. I've seen the testimonies, thousands of them over the years. I've seen ex-NSA personnel say the same exact identical to a T thing. They don't care at all. Your tax dollars that paid their employment description, that pays their pensions, that then in turn also pays their mortgages, their car payments, the food that goes into their mouth, coming out of my fucking taxpayers' dollars, is paying for them so that they can then allow you to be assaulted, raped, harassed, property loss, property theft. They don't give a shit because it's not happening to them. And I'm mainly right now talking about the hierarchy of the police stations. They don't give a fuck. They'll watch a video of a target saying this shit and fucking laugh. They don't care. They literally don't care. At all. Literally. We are talking about the type of people that will set a woman up for a rape, videotape it, make hundreds of copies of it, sell it, make money off it. They take that money then to put food in their mouth. You understand? Including robbing the victim before, during, or after the rape. So the victim doesn't have any money to pay for food. They then got to go to a church or a charity, and on their way to the church or charity food bank to get food, they're gang stalked along the way. They're set up while they're there. The food bank will be told not to give the victim anything that they know, the type of food that they know the victim likes. Instead, just give them shit that they know the victim doesn't like. This is literally how bad this crime is. These people are vile whores. They're demented, beyond measure. Now, I apologize that I did not get back into the descriptions of what the third video was supposed to be about. I got sidetracked. All right, now hold on a second. Oh, absolutely. And you fucking better believe that hospitals, medical centers, and I apologize for my language, doctors of all kinds, dentists, surgeons, psychiatrists, psychologists, ophthalmologists, brain surgeons, they're all involved in this crime. You fucking better believe they are. I've done the research. Sorry, I'm looking for my glasses and I can't find them. I took them off, but I got so much shit in front of me right now. Oh, absolutely. So just bear with me for a second. Let me find them because I got to put them back on for a second. Let me see how many. About 4 minutes away. About 4 minutes away from being from running out of video time. Tell you what I'll do. I want you to know the evidence I got in my possession right now. It is massive. It is massive to the extreme. It's extremely high end. It's completely and totally indisputable. Hold on one second. So here's what I'm gonna do. When I conclude this video, I'm only gonna have less than, at this time, only about 7 minutes left. So I'm not gonna make the next video, this video sequence, until later on today, probably, because I gotta get to go back to doing some work. Hold on a second. You ever notice that when I'm making my videos, you don't hear any car convoy sound harassment? That's because they know you're making a video and they don't want it recorded. But the second I fucking get done making this video, they'll prop it right back up. This has been experienced on hundreds of dates. My tape recorder has proven this fact. Absolutely. They adjust their behaviors because they don't want their behaviors to be caught in the background. You better believe it. Alright, my name is Leslie Williams. I live in San Diego, California. Do research into the things that I've stated in this video, and I did get sidetracked away from my thought when I began to talk about how, look, if you're a Christian, know this. The Holy Spirit is in you. And He will guide you, and He will protect you. Okay? Absolutely. He will guide you, and He will protect you. But you got to have an intimate relationship with Him. Okay? Absolutely. Part of carrying your cross means that your older self has to die, and you have to have a relationship, a proper, mature relationship with God, so that you can then know what God wants from you. Okay? It's a give and take, back and forth relationship, one I am completely grateful that I got. Absolutely. Everybody be good to each other out there. Okay? Everybody, just try and be good to each other out there. Be careful who you interact with, because this friggin' crime is going on everywhere, and there's a lot of intentional, strategic description about who's actually involved in this crime and at what level. Okay? And by the way, I didn't actually finish off the statement I was going to continue in that I brought up a little while ago. Okay, I'll just make a fast statement concerning that. Consider this. If you're being gang-stalked by a grocery store employee, it doesn't mean that grocery store employee knows that you're being gang-stalked everywhere else. It doesn't necessarily mean that that grocery store employee is an actual syndicate member, or is he just a role player on behalf of the syndicate. So in other words, he might not know that you've been brutally assaulted, brutally tortured, set up for a rape.